lot of my caretaker up.
The beans and the, we started out with 2 napkins each. Now, once again, that is homemade applesauce from apples grown in Alaska. That is our last bottle. We're making. Yeah, it's just falling apart. Well,
I mean,
you mean I got the job?
yep, you got the job.
Hey, you got the big
Good.
ones. Barbecue.
I have to pass that back down. Let's just remove it for now. One is for eating, that's the longer fork is for dinner, and the shorter fork is for dessert. Which if you go reference back to how many key limes I have, we have key lime pie again.
More?
What littles?
Do you want bread, Larry?
How about beans?
Thank you.
I have a 6-pound pack of bone-in ribs. I'm going to go ahead and wash these, get any packaging off. I'm just going to pat dry the ribs, get the excess water off. Pat dry. Okay, I'm going to now trim the ribs into individual serving pieces. I'm now going. Okay, we're going to arrange these on a tray, and I'm sprinkling with a good little sprinkle of garlic, salt, and some fresh ground black pepper. Kind of hard to beat too much ground pepper. Okay. Now, when you season it, you got to season both sides. So I'm going to turn the meat over. Just let it run. I'm just going to wash my hands. Okay. And we'll give a sprinkle of garlic salt on this side. And a little extra garlic didn't hurt. And another good dose of fresh ground black pepper. Okay, now I want to cover with some plastic wrap. Kind of seal it all around the edges there. Okay. And after they're covered with plastic wrap, I want to put them in the refrigerator where they'll set for a minimum of 2 hours. Overnight is better. Okay, I preheated my frying pan, adding a little bit of olive oil. Just enough to cover the bottom. These are the ribs that have been sitting in the refrigerator. Okay, we're going to brown the ribs. Just enough to get a browning on each side. Get a little sizzle going there. Put enough ribs in just to cover the bottom. Don't want to put too many in to cool the pan down. Let them brown. Do the ribs in batches. So we'll give those a moment or two to brown. Okay, our first side should be brown. Turn over for second side. We're not cooking the ribs here, we're just browning them. Get a little bit of that conversion, get a little more flavor. because we'll actually be cooking them under moist heat rather than high oil heat. Okay, we'll let those brown on that side. Okay, our ribs are browned on both sides. Go ahead and we'll remove them over to this plate. Just sit over here for a moment while we brown the rest of the ribs. Okay, more ribs to go in. And we'll go ahead and let those ribs brown. Okay, I think these have browned on one side already. Yeah. Turn these over, start the second side browning. Okay, let's see here. Oh, good. These are brown on this side. I'll remove these to the holding plate. And brown the last of our ribs. Okay, all our last chops here are nicely browned. We'll take them out of the pan. And I have 1 cup of water here. I'm going to add to the pan to deglaze the pan. Give this a little stir around, get all those little brown bits off the bottom here as much as possible. Yeah, okay. Then very carefully I'm going to take and pour that back into the measuring cup. Collect my deglazing liquid. And I'm going to add enough water to bring it up to 2 cups. Okay, here's our pressure cooker bottom. I'm going to put the standoff in so the meat doesn't sit on the very bottom. I have our 2 cups of our deglazing liquid. Put that in. And I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of liquid smoke to the mixture. One tablespoon liquid smoke. Okay, turn on. Okay, we'll go ahead and start putting the ribs in our cooker. Now as I put the ribs in the cooker, I'm going to put them into layers that are like tiers. They'll cross over one another so that we don't have a solid mass of meat, but have space for the steam to come up in between the layers. So put a layer with this way. Now put some of the other pieces with a layer going this way. And now I have 1 more layer coming back this other way. And I'll do this until I have all of our pieces in the pot. Whenever you're using pressure cooker, you don't want to go more than 2/3 full. And when I put this little load of meat in, you'll see it just about 2/3 full. Always inspect your lid, make sure that your pressure seal and everything is correct. Make sure your vents are all open. Then we'll go ahead and we'll put our cover on and slide it around. Okay, now we're going to start heating at high until we get steam coming out of our regulator hole. That'll take about somewhere between 8 and 10 minutes. Okay, we have steam coming out of the regulator hole. I'm going to put the little counterweight on top. It's about 4 minutes into the cooking. And over here you can see that we have steam coming out of the interlock. In a moment it popped up. So the lid is now locked. We're steaming. And we will go until we get a rocking of our counterweight. Okay, when the rocker starts to rock, we want to reduce our heat so that we get a gentle rhythmic rocking. Occasionally it could even stop as long as it doesn't go for about more than 30 seconds. Now I'm going to set the timer for 20 minutes. 18 to 20 minutes is the cooking time, but these have bone ends, so I'm going with a 20. And we'll start. At the end of 20 minutes, we will have cooked ribs. Minutes into the cooking process. We have a slow rhythmic jiggling of our pressure controller. Using a pressure cooker is not like a crock pot where you turn it on and walk away. You have to be around it all the time it's cooking. You have to make adjustments from time to time. Every pressure cooker is different. Every stove is different for the times and heat setting. You have to read your pressure cooker manual and use it a few times to get used to the approximate setting. Okay. Stove off. Cooking's over. Very carefully take your pot and move it over to the sink. Once it's in the sink, cool tap water over the top. Try to keep it from going into any of the access holes, because when the pressure comes down, it will like to draw in liquid and can ruin your dish. But I'm going to watch right here for the little safety interlock. When it drops away, I'll know it'll be safe to remove the pressure controller, and then I'll be able to open it and get my ribs out. Okay, right here, you notice that the little pressure lock has dropped away. That means the pressure inside is down. Okay, now I'm going to remove the pressure controller. That lets the last little steam vent out. And then I'll carefully slide open the pressure cooker's lid. And there's our ribs inside. Now we'll take and remove our ribs from the cooker. Notice how tender they are. They're fall apart tender. Just very careful there, because it's very tender meat now. Some of the smaller pieces are very, very tender. Okay. Okay, now you take your favorite barbecue sauce round bottom bowl works really good for this because you're going to roll each of the ribs into the sauce. Take your rib. This is a hands-on, so what you have to do is let the ribs cool down enough that you can handle them. Some of the little pieces we'll put over here. And after you have all of your ribs coated in barbecue sauce, piece of foil lightly cover, help keep them from drying out. And then we'll go into a real cool oven, just warm, just keep them warm until it's time to serve.